Hi everybody. Just wanted to show you a quick example of a maze I've just created. I think it took me about maybe 30 minutes or so. And this is totally no plan. I did not plan it out ahead of time. I was just using some of the tools that I have showed you guys how to use. Essentially the insert edge loop, the bridge tool, and the extrude tool. Um, to form this maze, and just wanted to show you the possibilities. I'm not saying that this is an awesome fantastic maze, but um, it is creative in a way that I use all the tools that I have at my disposal at this point that I know of, and just kind of went with it and experimented with it. Those of you who have planned a maze ahead of time, you probably have a better opening and closing. I kind of just started from one corner and went around and cut parts, and ended up with this exit. So this is the entrance to the maze, and they go in through the maze, coming out from here, and you can see that there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of curvy shapes and lines that I've simply just selected faces and used the bridge tool with the smooth option to create all these things. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get started for those of you who are having a little trouble using the tools that we have discussed in class to create this simple maze. And I'm not going to go and finish the whole thing. I'm just going to show you how I kind of map out the outline of the maze, and maybe show you a couple of parts of where I extruded the parts and formed the curvy loops and stuff around it. So let me go ahead and get started. Okay, I started with a cube, and I placed this cube. I know that 0.5 will bring the cube to the top of the grid, and I kind of moved my cube all the way to the edge of the grid to start, and pressing the space bar allows me to go from one view to another, and I kind of want to angle this to use the grid as my starting point. So as you can see, I started right there. Right click, go to the face mode, selected this face, hit the extrude tool, grabbing the blue arrow, I pull this part all the way over here. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave this hole open because that's the place where the start of the maze begins. And pressing Q will deactivate the current tool. And I went back to the object mode. So I have one single rectangular cube created. Next, I went back to my top view. And this is the part that I find that using the insert edge loop works best, so that I can cut the portion according to the grid that I have. So I went to Mesh, Insert Edge Loop tool, and click right there to cut an edge loop over here. And at this point, you can go ahead and cut more edge loops. So let's say you want 2 units between each wall of the maze. You can go ahead and skip 2, skip 2, and maybe in the middle you're going to have some pathways running up, so I may skip 4. If you have planned this ahead of time, it'll be a lot easier rather than just go as you go. But sometimes you could have happy accidents, so we're just going to go with that for right now. Right click goes back to object mode, and I'm going to go to this view and press Q to drop. Anytime you see a little white arrowhead, it means that your tool is still selected, so you have to press this arrow key or press Q on your keyboard to deselect the current tool. And if you click on it, you can see that I've inserted all these edge loops on my basic rectangle. When I unclicked it, you'll notice that I couldn't see the lines. So in order for me to see the lines, I'm going to go ahead and use this option, which is wireframe on shaded. And now it allows me to see the lines even though the object is not selected. Okay. So at this point, you can start a new cube here since this is the opening, and then extrude down. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new cube. Again, I'm going to place it up 0.5 because that's when it's going to sit on the grid. I'm going to move my cube. Oops. I'm going to move my cube over here. My mouse pad is a little slippery. I'm going to move it up to the corner because this is the place where the entrance or the exit of the maze. Okay, And I simply repeat the process, go to my top view to make sure that this is placed, press F to zoom in, and then roll the middle mouse to zoom out. Make sure that this is placed exactly on the 1 unit. Alright. Spacebar goes back to my perspective, right click on face, select this face, and I'm going to hit extrude, and I'm going to pull it all the way over here to the edge of the grid, right around here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and continue on this and possibly, let me select this face over here. Okay. Now since I've just used Extrude 2, if I hit G on the keyboard, it repeats the same tool without me going up here to extrude. And I can just drag this out to form the next corner. And I'm going to have the closing or the exit of the maze right here. Okay. So that's the entrance and exit. Okay. Alright, press Q drops the tool. Alright, right click goes back to object mode, and I'm going to go ahead and build a wall here. So essentially I'm going to do the same thing, go to the top view, and I'm going to need a wall going down from here to here. Alright, so I'm going to hit insert edge loop. I'm going to grab an edge loop right over here, so that'll be a wall extending from there to there. And also at this point I can go ahead and cut out some segments, so maybe I'll skip 2 in here, cut out some parts, and you can roll the middle mouse button to kind of zoom in. As you can see, they're kind of crooked, so I'm going to make sure I cut it right there by the grid. I'm going to skip 2, cut right there. This time I'm going to skip 4, and skip 2, skip 2. You get the point. Okay? So let's say we're going to go with this. Right click goes back to object mode. Notice that the arrowhead is still there. Pressing Q will drop the tool, and make sure you have wire on shaded selected so you can see all the wireframes. I'm also going to go ahead and cut out some insert some edge loops on this part of the grid. So I'm going to go back to insert edge loop. I'm going to skip, since there's an opening here, I'm going to start an opening right over here. And I'm going to have another opening right about there. So they can have kind of an offset from each other. Maybe one right here. Since there's one here, maybe one just about here. And right there. And finally one over here. And maybe one right there. Okay, right click object mode, and there we have it. Alright, so you have the basics of the maze set up. I'm going to go ahead and build this other wall to close up this opening. So I'm going to go to select this cube, right click face, select this face, hit extrude, pull the blue arrow all the way over here to create the exit or the entrance. Okay, so there's 2 openings on either side of the maze. And again, you can go back in here and cut more edge loops. I'm just going to stop right now in cutting. I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. So right click goes to my face mode. I'm going to select this face. I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to pull this out. It's right here, select this one, G to extrude. Pull this a little further out than that one. Again, with planning, this could be a lot better project because you know exactly how far to go. I'm just doing this randomly, right? Not a good idea, but it was just a last minute thing that I decided to do. So, okay, so you're just going to go ahead and hit G to repeat the extrusion and keep extruding the parts of your maze. And I think by now you guys, most of you, get the idea of what I'm trying to do. Now I'm going to select this side, go to this face, and hit G to extrude. And as you can see, because I offset the cut, I have a lot more variety in terms of making loops and walls for the person who explores my maze, to make it a little more challenging. Oops. Hit G to extrude. And again, you can go to the top view and kind of position this better. I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. So G to extrude, I'm going to place it right about here so they have a way to come through here. Take this face, G to extrude, and so forth. Okay, I hope by now you guys have sort of an idea of what I'm doing and how I'm doing this in order to extrude some parts for my character or whoever's gonna come through my maze to have a little challenge. Okay, so right click, go to object mode, and there you go. I have the basics of my maze, and you're gonna continue cutting more edge loops across this way to plan out the rest of your maze to get that done. Right now I'm going to show you how I created those loops and some of the walls on the outside. So let me, oh, by the way, if you want to kind of adjust the edges, so let's say for instance this was slightly over and into the midway of my unit right there, and I want to kind of pull it back so it stops right there. Right click, go to the edge, or you can use vertices, vertex. Make sure you don't just click because we're looking at it through the top view, and if you just click you may only get one point. You want to drag across those two vertices, press move, and move the points back. Okay, you can also use edges, so I'm going to do this with edge. Again, I'm going to drag across this edge that I want instead of just clicking. If I click on it, notice that it's only pulling one of the edges and not both, so I need to run my mouse across it and just select them and move it. Okay, all right, so I'm just gonna select this object and insert several edge loops to show you how I created some of those little curvy parts on top. Okay, so that's probably enough. Right click, go to object mode. Okay, now what I'm going to do is to right click, go to face, and notice I have a tool, so I'm going to press Q to drop the tool. Select this face, and I'm going to go to extrude. Now I'm going to extrude by faces, so I'm going to pull them up to extrude them just like so. Alright, and I'm going to select this face and press G to repeat the extrude and just pull them up. So make this taller, something like that. Okay, maybe take this face and this face, hit G to extrude and pull them up. Alright, so I have some columns pulled out from my grid. With these face selected, I press Q to deselect the extrude tool. With these faces selected, I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to bridge. Okay, now I'm going to open the options. As we discussed in class, there are 3 different ways to bridge. At this point, if I choose a linear path, you're going to see that it's going to join in a straight column. So I'm going to show you. With one division, if I hit apply, oops, try again. Select this face, select this face, bridge options. Let me reset the options. Linear path, apply. Alright, with 5 divisions, it does something like that. So that's not what we want. I'm going to hit Z to undo. And this time I'm going to choose smooth path with 5 divisions, apply. And immediately you see that that's a little arch that's formed. If I want it to be smoother and more curvier, I can go to the inputs under divisions, highlight the word division, middle mouse click and drag, and there you go. If I want it twisting, highlight the word twist, you can twist, taper, and so forth. Okay? Alright, and I basically just repeated that with all the other parts. So I'm going to take this, go to bridge, all right? It's repeating the same bridge over. Again, go to my divisions, increase the number of divisions. Finally, right click, go to face, select this face, and hit G to repeat the bridge, okay? Get more divisions and so forth, all right? For me to join the parts, I simply selected a face. Let's say I want to select this face with this face. I'm going to hit G to bridge. That repeats the operation. Increase my divisions. Choose, do a little taper in here, maybe a slight twist. Maybe not. Don't like the twist. Okay, and that's how I combine the arches. So let's combine this with this by going to, I'm going to select this face and this face. I'm going to hit bridge. Okay, increase more divisions. And this is pretty interesting. Do a slight twist on this one. Maybe give it a few more divisions and see if that works better. Then do a twist. As you can see, that's a lot of areas that you can make this maze interesting and creative instead of going with the usual. Because the point is, in this line of work, is to be creative and do something that's totally different from what people expect in order to be noticed. So this is just an idea. You don't have to do this. It could be a simple maze, but I do need for you guys to use the tools that was discussed in class to construct the maze instead of just putting rectangular cubes together and bunch them against one another. Okay, you notice that when I'm constructing, there's a lot of history in here, so you should go ahead and select the parts. So I'm going to run my mouse over the whole thing. I'm going to go to Edit, Delete All by Type History to clean up my mesh, and you can see now that there's no history. I also want to name the parts, so this will be maze part 1. This may be maze part 2, and I need my outliner. You can see that the names are formed, and if I want to group them into one single piece, highlight both of them, go to Edit, Group, and simply call the group maze. Alright, so this is a proper way to clean up your scene and optimize your scene, and hopefully after this first project, most of you will follow some of the tools that we have discussed in class to create your creative projects. Maybe tomorrow I'll include some videos on modeling some furniture. I did model a dresser early on in the day, but I was doing it without recording because it was pretty long, so I didn't want to record the whole thing. Perhaps I'll try to do another one tomorrow. I'll make it a shorter one for you guys to take a look at. Okay? Thank you.